Good morning, everybody. Today we've gathered to voice our concern over Proposition 1. As moral people, if a policy is going to cost us a lot of money and it's the right thing to do, we should do it. If a policy is going to trouble us by putting greater pressure on our healthcare system, but it's the right thing to do, then we should try to take on that burden. However, if a policy is going to burden us and isn't the right thing to do, then pushing it forward is not just ignorance, it's dangerous, and it impedes our ability to do the right thing in the future. Yes. This is the case with Prop 1. Poorly drafted policies motivated by faulty notions of freedom that ignore the basics of morality are not the answer to a complicated problem. As men and women of faith, we know that in moments of difficulty and complexity, we seek divine guidance. The Quran states, God raised up the heavens and established the scales of balance. This concept of balance is central to the Islamic definition of justice, which is upheld by ensuring the rights of others, from our families to all human beings, to animals, and even the environment. The Quran guides human beings to arbitrate every matter with justice and to remove every bias in upholding justice, even if it requires taking a stance against one's own interests. We challenge the assumption that fetal viability is the only factor in making decisions of life and death. If the decision to abort a fetus rested only on its viability, without consideration for the mother's life, or whether the pregnancy resulted from rape, or if a fetus is severely deformed, there would be no justice. On the other hand, failing to consider fetal viability at all is also unjust. We also challenge referring to a fetus as a blob of cells because it rejects the personhood of the sacred life at stake. We have to approach this sensitive issue from a balanced perspective. Islamic scholars over the centuries have discussed the issue at length, ensuring that justice is upheld for all parties involved, mother, father, and child. Women's rights activists call for women's choice to decide whether or when to have children, whether to get married, and most importantly, where every woman is able to make the decision free from coercion. There's no issue with this. However, there can be no denial that women's reproductive rights intersect with fetal rights. We would be ignorant to assume that conversations around reproductive rights are essentially the same as conversations around body autonomy. I'll end by saying that political slogans are always one-sided, with no room for qualifiers. And this only delays coming to a solution that's based on sound morality, logic, and reasoning. While heartbeat bills represent one end of the extreme, Prop 1 represents the other end of the extreme. The broad language in Prop 1 opens the door to a future of arbitrary regulations and lawsuits. Before November 8th, every citizen across all party lines should think about the implications and the repercussions of their vote. And as a starting point, we urge all voters to vote no on Prop 1. Thank you.